All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Freedom Frequency. Um, Tonight, we're going to kind of talk about meditation, some basic principles, fundamentals, pitfalls, challenges, and even, some tricks. Um, so, do any of you guys meditate on a regular basis? Or, all right, Kathleen?
All
I do
day.
not.
No? Kylo's a non-meditator. All right.
I tried about a year ago.
Good. That's what I'm looking for. I think that's you're who I want to talk to, the folks that have tried and struggle a little bit or can't find the groove, if you will. So I got a couple of videos, or not videos, sorry, pictures just to share for the discussion. Oh, let's not do that. No. Oh, great. That was close. That was close.
It's pretty.
Let's see. All right. Okay. Some meditation. I'm going to kind of cover kind of the main things you want to think about, or at least be aware of, at least when you're getting started. Meditation is really kind of just tuning in with yourself, I'd say. Quieting the mind is something that a lot of people say. A lot of people, controlling your thoughts, is meditation. But, for me, it's, I think the way I really look at it is really being able to go inside, to check on yourself and what is happening inside, whether it is your thoughts or your feelings, or even the physical presence of what's inside of you, your organs, your spine, especially. We have, when we're talking about vibration and energy, we can feel that sense of that energy that does flow through us and, can flow up our spine. And so there's a lot of different things you can kind of tune into or check in with. When you do try to meditate, or when you go down that path, I'm going to kind of talk about some of those, but for me, it's really being able to step inside and quiet everything down, slow everything that you can possibly down, your external inputs, and even some of the things that kind of agitate you or keep you busy. So when when you find the time and you're going to sit down and meditate, your environment, your external stimuli, you want to reduce, as much as you possibly can. It's not always possible to totally shut it off, but sometimes, whether it's just a quiet room, or you are in your office, maybe you lock the door while you're doing this, or maybe it's after kids go to bed or during lunch or whatnot. And it, you think, when I think about meditation, I think about making things optimal. So, total silence, total relaxation is obviously what we're striving for, or what we want to get to, but that can't always happen. Sometimes, we are being agitated with something, or maybe there is a noise outside that's, keeping you from that perfect silence or whatnot, but you can still, limit those external stimuli. So the goal is really to just be able to control and shut down as much of it as you can. So not, being around things that, trigger us. The other part, the next one at least, is being aware of your posture. You do have a spine, and your energy does flow, up and down that spine. And when your spine is straight and you have a good posture, that energy is going to flow a little easier. There is a physical connection between your meditation or your exploration inside and your spine. And the more upright your spine is, the more in line it is, that energy is going to flow easier. And that energy also brings greater awareness. You'll be able to, be exposed to more when you have a straight spine. So, you talk about posture and you talk about meditation, it's almost natural to come to that vision of somebody that sits, cross-legged and has their, their fingers out in this really beautiful kind of posture, but that's very difficult for a lot of us, especially for the new folks. And that mostly has to do with, flexibility. But there's a reason that we sit in that position. Obviously, like I said, I mean, your torso is up straight and your chin's kind of tucked back and you have a straight spine. That's good for kind of like channeling in that vibration. But when you sit cross-legged and you sit with your feet palms up, it really opens up your hips and it really allows that lower part of your spine to straighten out. And most of us have very tight and difficult to move hips. But it's not a problem. It doesn't keep you from meditating if you can't cross your legs. I'd say like the next posture that would work if crossing your legs is super difficult, you can always sit on a pillow, raising your hips up a little bit and having your legs a little bit lower will make that crossing position a little easier, and it'll make that turning your feet up a little easier. And that, when you sit like that and your feet palms, I call them, are pointed up, you really have open hips. You're they're really open, and there is an alignment there that you can achieve. And so if all that is still too comfortable, sitting cross-legged is very difficult for a lot of folks. You can sit on a chair. Again, you just try to be mindful of your posture being as straight as you can get it, and keep your feet flat on the ground. If you're going to sit in a chair, you're probably not going to want to sit cross-legged or slouch or lean or cross your legs. Yeah. Keep your feet on the ground. And then another method I actually use quite a bit is to really just lay flat on the ground. I try not to say lay on a bed, but just like even on a yoga mat. If you go to yoga, before and after, sometimes you're just laying there. That is a very meditative position, and it does allow you to kind of check in with your body on how it kind of sits on the ground and where you might have different pressure points and whatnot. And it can just really allow your entire body to find that, a really relaxed state. So again, your environment, having a strong posture, a straight spine, but nevertheless, with all this posture that you choose, whether you force your legs up on top of each other and cross them or do whatever, you do want to find something that's comfortable, or you do want to be in a position that you can sit for 15 or 20 minutes. You don't want it to be painful, but at the same time, this is all a very good opportunity to check in with your body and finding out where you might not be flexible, where these different positions are challenging, and again, without judgment, saying, oh, saying I'm too inflexible to meditate, just to be aware of it, put some mind into it, some thought, and just understand you got stiff hips, and that's really not the worst thing in the world, but it's just like I said, it's just like an awareness. All right, so I had trouble with these pictures, so I gotta do them from down here. So when you can find the right environment, whether it's a dedicated room or whether it's just your office with the door closed. I think one of the most fundamental aspects is really to have an intention that you're going to meditate. Now, meditate can mean a lot of different things and can be harnessed in a lot of different ways, but there is a common intention there where however you bring in your practice, that's what you're going to focus on. And we don't want to try to schedule out this time, and we're going to talk about a lot of different methods, a lot of different tricks, a lot of different things to work with that maybe are too difficult for you. Maybe you are being agitated and you need to kind of step out, and you're just kind of overwhelmed. Sometimes just taking peace and quiet for 15 minutes is good. If you struggle with, calming your thoughts, or you struggle with, your awareness with your breath or anything, you don't have to do any of this stuff. You really, there is an immense amount of value in just being able to slow everything down and really turning off the, exterior world for a bit. And honestly, even if you sit down and you fall asleep, it's not a bad thing. I know a lot of people stop meditating because they always end up falling asleep. I don't think that's bad. I think that's actually kind of a positive, because you are being able to kind of tune in and get past your thoughts. And more than likely, your soul is probably so exhausted that taking a nap is the best thing for you at that individual moment. So the next one is, is awareness, which is a word I use a lot, obviously throw it around a lot, but what's special about awareness and meditation is that in your attempts to quiet your environment, in your attempts to slow things down and kind of turn off some of the noise, you'll become aware of more and more stuff. If you get the door shut and you're quiet and you're kind of getting into your breath, that quietness will expose a lot of the other noise, a lot of the other sounds. And so it's easy to kind of get distracted again, but we'll kind of talk through it when we go through a little, guided meditation. But when you settle in, and you find your quiet place and you're going to start to do your meditation and you're sitting down and you're ready, one of the first things that's good is to become aware of your environment right away. When you got your eyes closed and you're meditating, you just with your eyes closed, have awareness of what's around you. Okay, have a sense of that presence of the things that are in your environment that you can't see with your eyes closed, which is everything. So whether you're sitting on a chair or sitting across from a fireplace or in your house, it's nothing really special or magical, but you just be aware of your environment and the quietness and then just the present moment. And again, the big objective here is to be able to cross that line between spending your entire life, your entire time in the exterior world with the things you're doing, the people you're interacting, the places you're going, and you're just taking a little bit of time, a little bit of moments to just see what's inside. And there's a lot going on inside. So there is plenty for it to keep you busy, to keep you, working on, if you will. But that is kind of the separation. I talked about it before, like your truth is on the inside. Your vibration and your energy is on the inside. Everything else outside is an external trigger, is an external vibration. So being able to cross that line from the outside to the inside, I think is it's truly magical. Okay. Well, the slider there. Yeah, that's what I needed. All right, so there's a fun little picture. So what's going on inside of you that your meditation can kind of work with? All right, so we'll go with some breath exercises here in a bit, but you found the quiet time, you found your place, you're getting into a comfortable position. You take a few breaths, you get things slowing down, you feel the emotions that might be kind of leaving you, whatever's kind of been triggering you through the day. But on the inside, the stuff you can't see, there's a lot that you can focus in on. Your breath is the foundation of meditation. Your breath is your anchor. Your awareness of the way your physical body feels on the inside when you breathe is that navigation point when you're working on the inside. When you're working with your thoughts, or you're working with your chakras, or if when you're working with your thoughts and they just run away, and next thing you're sitting down thinking I'm supposed to be meditating, and oh no, I'm thinking about my grocery list or my to-do list or how somebody's upset at me at work. When you get pulled into that stuff, always remember your breath is your rudder. It's your anchor. It quiets the thoughts. As soon as you focus in on your inhalation and your exhalation, and how your body expands, and how your rib cage expands, and how your lower torso expands when you breathe out, and the airflow along your throat and in your neck and up through your nasal passage, and the friction that it makes when it slides in and out of your nose and through your mouth. You know, your breath is your anchor. It's always there, and it is, you know, we understand it is a frequency. You're going in and out, in and out. And so recognizing that and playing with that is really what kind of deepens your meditative practice. So, you know, it's not just, you know, just the action of breathing out or breathing in. It's, you know, how deep can you breathe? You know, when you exhale, how far out can you fully compress and get a full breath out? And then when you do that and you start to breathe in, is it rushed? Do you get a little panic sensation, or can you transition from that out breath to the in breath really easy and slowly? Or can you breathe out, hold it for a few seconds, and then start to breathe in? And it's just that cycle of and recognizing it, you know, in your body and how it may affect. There's just so much you can do when you meditate with your breath. You know, there are meditative practices where you want to breathe really quickly, really rapidly. Those are, I think, like Kundalini yoga, or is that right? Yeah. But you know, a slow, easy, methodical breath that's light and effortless is what you want to get to. And you can tell when you're stressed about stuff, if your mind's on things, you know, that it will affect how you breathe. It's harder to have a really slow and easy, peaceful breath if you got a lot of stuff going on in your mind. So the other thing I kind of threw on top of this, I got a lot of things going on in here, but I kind of drew the pictures of the lungs here. That's the breath. And then a little purple line here, you know, that's your passage of the airflow from your nose down to your lungs. The other thing I want to make sure we cover is, you know, your chakras, you know, and the Kundalini. You have these chakras, the root, the sacral, solar plexus, heart. No, I didn't even write heart on there. Shame on me. Heart chakra, throat, third eye, and then there's a crown chakra. And these chakras can be explained in so many different ways. There's so much different guidance and ways to look at it and whatnot. So I'm just going to give you what mine is. And, you know, Kathy, by all means, Kathleen, if you want to chime in on a different take, feel free. If not, but, you know, I do think everything kind of starts with the root chakra. So this is, let me back up a minute. Your chakras have a higher dimensional place in your body. They are a center for your emotions of different kinds can rest, and energy can sit in these chakras, and it's a matter of that chakra being opened too much or closed and shut off and being blocked. And the goal is to have them flow. You want to have your chakras open and flowing. And each chakra takes a certain amount of meditation and guidance to really work with it. You know, your root chakra is a sense of safety and a physical presence, you know, in this world. So somebody that has a blocked root chakra is probably a pretty fearful individual. You know, and if you notice these chakras here, one's really at the bottom of your tailbone, and then your sacral is kind of in the general area where your sex organs are. They're right in the middle of your hips, you know. So if you find that when you meditate and you just can't get your legs crossed over to stretch, there's a good chance you got some real tightness, physical tightness in your hips. And if you have physical tightness in your body, along your spine, along any of these chakras, they will manifest into blocked or overly open chakras. So the root chakra is like kind of a physical presence. To me, it's always just a sense of safety, you know, a sense of belonging. And it is, you know, it's the lower chakra, so it's your connection to the earth. these lines, this Kundalini energy that flows up and down, you know, it connects beyond your body and into the ground, and it connects above your head up into the cosmos. So root chakra, sense of safety, sacral chakra is really tied to your desires, the things that you want in this world. And they're obviously tied to your sexual desires. So they can have a direct impact on that, but they can also, your sacral can also just have an impact on your general wants and needs in this world and your relationship to them. So I'm not sure if I said it on here before, but you know, the problem isn't our desires. The problem is our relationship to our desires. Okay, so if you have a poor relationship to what your desires are, if you let them get out of control, or you beat up yourself for wanting to do certain things, you know, you could have tightness in your body in the sacral area, or you could just have a chemically or vibrationally blocked chakra. All right, moving on up, the solar plexus. I got it situated right underneath the heart, but this solar plexus one can kind of move a little bit. I've seen it represented down a little bit lower, closer to the belly button. So a lot of times they'll call this the navel chakra as well. But this one, you know, if you work it from the bottom, you got your sense of safety, your belonging, your desires, and your wants, and then you have of your purpose, of really what your purpose in this world is, what you're really doing and manifesting with your time and your energy. And you know, for me, for a very long time, I never really felt I had a good sense of my purpose. You know, I thought I was supposed to do these things, so that's what I went and did, you know. And it wasn't only after I really was meditating for a while that I was honing in, trying to find in what that purpose is, that I think I was able to really manifest it. And it did correlate to a lot of physical type of feeling, you know, awareness, you know, in my chest area, you know, in my lower back, that sometimes it's really that easy. If you can, once you get a physical sense or awareness of the inside, you know, just getting that started, opening that channel, opening that frequency, and kind of unlock a chakra. So these are the bottom three: the root, sacral, and plexus. And I correlate these two with basically your physical world chakras, okay? Because once we get into the heart chakra, we start dealing with the stuff that really can't be seen, the feelings that we have, the emotions, okay? And this is kind of the connection from the 3D physical world, if you will, to the you know, 5D type emotional world. And this is where your you know, your connection to humanity and others resonates, you know, in this heart chakra. So, and it's you know, it's right in the middle, you know, it's right where your heart is. But you know, an opened, you know, really this one to me is kind of how you show and feel emotions, especially love. Okay, if you express it freely and easily, and accept it freely and easily, you probably have an open heart chakra. But if you struggle with expressing yourself or your emotions and whatnot, again, it might be blocked. Throat chakra, you know, I kind of call this one really is like speaking your truth. If knowing your truth and speaking up, you know, comes easy for you, saying what needs to be said, you know, that's what an open throat chakra is. If you're real tentative about what you want to say, or public speaking, or have a lot of hesitation, you know, in talking, or just communicating. It doesn't really have to be talking. It could be just, you know, communicating. That's your throat chakra. The third eye, I guess you can call that the magic chakra, if you will. You know, that's the understanding of being able to see stuff without using your eyes, so to speak. And that's why when we close our eyes and we meditate, we start to really experience something, you know, inside that we can't see with our eyes. You know, even our breath, the awareness of our breath, sure, we can see our chest rise and whatnot, but the energy that comes in and out, you know, and it really just kind of manifests with a lot of the things I talked about earlier about having a high vibration that you can can start to be aware and start seeing more stuff. And another way I like to look at the third eye is that it does sit in the head. And so since it's in the head, it is inside the mind. Okay. And so basically, I'd like to look at the third eye as kind of the captain's chair. And for most of us, our ego is fully in control. But since it is a chakra and it is on this path, it is part of the soul. So when your third eye is awake, to me, that's when your soul is present in your mind. And your soul is influencing or even driving the vessel. So it's kind of that combination of you got your ego sitting in the mind, and then the soul and the energy up the spine, up the Kundalini intersects, and you get this nice, beautiful marriage between the ego and the mind, or this and the soul. So yeah, the Kundalini, you know, if you Google this and look up a lot of stuff, you're gonna have a hard time finding any real info. I see a lot of people on Facebook wanting to know good books about it, and I don't really think there are many, because the more you talk about it, the more I try to express what Kundalini is, the farther and farther away I get from it. It is something that is felt. It is an energy that's on the inside, and how you get to it is totally on your own. And you can do it in many different ways, but it is the recognition that you do have an energy source and an energy power and a vibration and a frequency that travels up and down your body. And whether you have one block chakra or you have several, tuning into that energy and getting it to flow and feeling it will help you unblock those chakras and, you know, experiencing, you know, world, I guess, in a more opened, vibratory state. Okay, moving on. Okay, so the biggest hurdle that people that I ever talk to about meditation are handling the thoughts. Now, handling your thoughts is really a double-edged sword, because the more you think about it, the more you try, the more thoughts you generate, and you're just creating more and more work for yourself. So there's a little trick, a little method for trying to grasp the process of your thoughts, trying to control how your mind and your body process them, handle them. And the image on the top there, I think, is a common, this is how I felt for a long, long time, where when I go to meditate, when I go to close my eyes and I have time to myself, where I'm not watching TV or reading a book or driving or doing a bunch of other things, thoughts are just coming, man. They're just nonstop. One thought leads to another, and then I think of something else, and the thoughts are overwhelming. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. You know, I think that when you are trying to, you know, be practical and do things and say, what's the right thing to do? I mean, it can get very frustrating when you got so many damn thoughts shooting at you. So one of the games, I like to call it, you know, one of the practices that have made meditation just amazing for me is this thing right here. When you found your peaceful environment, when you got into that comfortable posture, when you check in with your breath, when maybe you say a prayer to the creator, to something higher, and you decide you're going to sit here, you're going to sit with your thoughts. And what you try to do is try to give one thought your full attention, your full focus. Try not to let them drift, but again, don't be too hard on yourself to do, but sit with that thought and really ask it what it wants. You know, question it, see where it's coming from. And when you can do that, you should be able to come to either an action of something you actually need to do, or you can recognize that thought just really isn't serving you, that there isn't nothing there for it to give you, for you to take action on. And so when you have one thought that comes in, you know, and you can kind of question it and ask it what the source is, where it's coming from, you know, you might get to a thing where, you know, all this bad stuff's going to happen if I don't do this one thing tomorrow. Well, you can turn that thought into okay, the new thought is an action. Tomorrow I got to set my alarm for 7:30 and make sure I pack for this trip or whatever it is. That turns that questioning thought into an action, and that thought will fade away, will go away. And so when you can process one thought at a time, then the next one's going to come up, and you do the same thing with it. And you can develop this process of, instead of letting your thoughts just attack you over and over and just pop up, is to give them, instead of avoiding them and fighting them, you give one the full attention you can. And that's what makes meditation good, because you got nothing else better to do. You're sitting there, working on your inside. Try to handle each thought totally on its own, and ask it what it wants. What does it want of you? These thoughts have their own energy. They want something. There's a reason that they're there. This vibration is there for a reason, and some thoughts might be there just to make you feel bad about yourself for something you did a while back. But if you realize that there's no action to be taken, then the thought will vaporize on its own. And these thoughts will start to slow down, and you'll be able to get a manageable handle on this attack of thoughts that we all get into. And one thing that just kind of visually check in with is that, when you do work with your thoughts and you're questioning them and whatnot, it's okay. It's just to observe them, see where they go, see what energy they're pulling in. If one thought does morph into another, being aware of that is really powerful. You don't have to stop it or correct it. Just notice that, hey, this one little thought about something made me feel kind of sad, and that sad feeling reminded me of the other time I was sad, and a whole new set of thoughts pop up. But seeing that there is a separation, that's what's important, because there's a separation between thoughts, and there's a separation between you and your thoughts. And the more comfortable you are in between there, the more comfortable your body will be thoughtless and without these thoughts. And that is where the HD movie projector kicks on, and what's going inside. And this recognition of your chakras and this kundalini in your breath becomes much easier to see. This is the part. Okay, so to kind of not recap, but going into just a couple of higher level ideas here, but meditation is really just slowing everything down completely or partially and allowing your system to power down and recoup. And so only in the silence of your mind can you experience the vastness and connection of the universe. Talking about frequency, talking about vibration, all of that stuff is a distant idea in the ego mind, in the problem-solving mind. But the vastness of your connection to the universe and your capacity and your capabilities do lie in your ability to explore that silence, explore that quiet mind. Here's another one. Meditation is being familiar with what is inside of you. Our thoughts and ego force our attention outside. When our thoughts work for us and we can be comfortable on the inside, there is nothing to fear on the outside. Just noticed I missed something from earlier slide, but I guess I didn't quite finish going through all this stuff, but I covered all the chakras. I covered the breath, big understanding the mind is there, but I didn't hit the nervous system. So the nervous system truly is you. It is your spine, and it is your spine is connected to your mind. Your nervous system interprets everything your body experiences and collects it. And it can see and communicate with every inch of you. So knowing that energy path, that Kundalini path up your spine is a physical energy sensation, there also is the very physical spinal cord. And recognizing that connection between your mind and your body, and that your nervous system doesn't separate from your head to your back. Okay, that organ goes all the way down, and it goes out throughout your nerves and your arms and your fingers and whatnot. So, you know, having having so a nervous system with your spine, you know, like I go to a chiropractor every week, and I think it is a huge benefit. It has really changed a lot of good things in my life. And I think it has improved my meditation a lot too, because, you know, you think that going to a chiropractor is really just kind of push your body, you know, into an alignment, but for me, it's really recharging that nervous system and resetting it to, you know, allow it to operate and function, you know, ideally when it's talking to your organs, or it's just the physical connection to the muscles and, you know, in your body. You know, so your muscles and whatnot are another game you can kind of play with meditation when you go inside. When you start working with your breath or you're working with your chakra, there is a kind of a trick we'll go through. We do a guided one here of being able to physically, or not physically, but be able to mentally see the muscles and what's going on inside your body. You can do that. Like, you can feel your spine, you can feel your internal organs. And we can't do that if we're constantly, you know, being distracted to look outside. So that's kind of I guess an advanced step maybe of meditation, but that is something that you can do, and I guess you can, you know, work towards. So, I did a lot of talking about meditation. Anything anybody want to chime in or ask, or maybe Kylo, if you want to talk about, if you can, about when you were meditating, you know, why'd you stop? You know, what was the block that kept you from?
I don't know. I just didn't feel like a connection. But I do have a question. Every night when I go to bed, I think of my muscles and I start down with my feet, move my way up my body and relax them. And then I get all the way back up and I'm like, oh, my calves are tight again. Is that a form of meditation?
Absolutely.
And half the time it puts me to sleep.
Yeah, it's meditation is vast. There's a lot of different ways and aspects to doing it. What I am trying to like show here is a very concentrated aspect to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really felt the connection, like clearing my mind. I mean, this was a good, you know, presentation. I don't know. I tried meditation apps. I don't know. I just felt like I was doing it wrong.
And that's so common. I mean, people I think do get so frustrated with themselves when they don't get out what they expect to get from meditation. So people like we had a roadblock, but sometimes, you know, with me, the first time I meditated, like the first couple of times I did it, I felt a really like euphoric type calmness that I had never experienced before. It was like, felt great. But then after that, when I tried to meditate, I couldn't replicate it. I couldn't get back to that thing. And it was me just sitting there being uncomfortable. But anytime you can go inside, whether it is looking at your muscles with your mind, basically, and walking your mind through that and relaxing them, that is meditation. You know, and honestly, there's a magical little moment that when you do develop with meditation and you can quiet those thoughts, or at least slow them down to where there is nothing, you know, it may happen for just a brief second, but there's something really special to know that you're awake and aware, and you're totally in tune inside of you, and you don't have any distracting thoughts. Like, there's an energy, I keep saying, but that's really the only way to put it.
Once you clear your mind, you're just sitting there breathing in and feeling. Is it just a matter? What's the purpose of meditation? Clearing your mind, finding your inners.
I really, It's like driving a car and never turning it off. You know, like if you never change, if the car's always running, you're never changing the oil. You're on put gas in it. You're not maintaining, you're not even let it stop for a minute, you know, in the industrial world, building these industrial plants, you know, as an engineer, you know, the plants get designed for different reasons. Sometimes they get designed just for a day shift, you know, and other times you'll design a plant to have to be working around the clock, and it'll be just producing so much, you know, you're just around the clock. Well, those plants still need to shut it off every once in a while. You know, they still need to like just turn everything down, wipe everything down, sweep the place out. And that's just super healthy, like that, being able to, you know, whether you're slowing things down or you're seeing the separation between you and your thoughts, you're going into this new space. And that new space is very heart-centered and inside your soul. And, you know, you can say it a lot of things. It's quieting your thoughts, it's recycling, resetting your system. But for me, it really comes down to that is feeling your soul and the separation from your mind and your ego. You know, realizing how much your mind does, you know, realizing how much your mind has an impact on how you feel. You know, that being frustrated with not being able to control your thoughts and not being able to meditate, what the physical manifestations and sitting with that, that feeling, you know. And if nothing else, if you do quiet your thoughts and you're sitting there quiet and you're in that dead quiet space or whatever, is to explore your awareness. Okay, so like if you go through your body and like you've turned your thoughts off, whatever, and you've explored your body with your mind, you've walked through your feet and your legs and whatever, and then you kind of, you know, maybe you do it again, but you're sitting there very awake and you've kind of done everything you wanted to do. And there really is a magic in just sitting with that and letting and when you get your mind turned off like that, turn it back on a little bit, see where it goes, see what stuff is coming in, right? If new thoughts come in, which will happen, guarantee it, you know, try to explore them, observe them with it. Where does it come from? What do you want from me? Yada, yada, you know, and that's where, you know, you can get explored to these other frequencies, you know, the other vibrations. You know, we talked about thoughts and all these stuff are really just frequencies and vibrations that you get tuned into. So meditation is really slowly just turning off this satellite over here, turning this one off, you know, limiting all those other frequencies, limiting the thought frequencies that pop up, and then kind of allowing the energy to kind of explore the universe, if you will, like see what does come, you know, and just, you know, it could be, you know, if you do find that time where you find yourself relaxed and you got into a meditative space and you're kind of bored, if you will, you know, that's a great time to really kind of address some things that might be issues in your life. Maybe there's things you're working with, you're trying to figure out, you know, because if you're trying to work on these heavy things, when you're agitated with other stuff, you know, you don't have a full sense of awareness. You know, you follow into the same patterns, the same thought patterns, the same reactions. And, you know, the issue hasn't ever gone away. It's going to stay there. But if you can shut everything down and give it your full attention, you'll be surprised at how easy these things kind of unfold on themselves. And that's where the idea of observing and asking the question, not searching for the answer pops up just by constantly asking the question. So it's you know, it's like I said, you can look at it different ways, but it's, you know, honestly, it's kind of like just shutting the noise off. Like if all of a sudden you can shut off every single noise, from the wind to the birds to the air conditioner to your TV, and just notice the magnitude of silence. How much is going on, the quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter you get. You know, and that's, you know, noticing your surroundings, or if it's really, if you go through your physical body, you know, manifest that energy up your spine. You know, think about what your root chakra is and focus your energy on that root chakra and ask it questions. Same thing with your sacral, your solar plexus, your heart. You know, work with them. You know, one thing I did was, you know, when you, I should have it on here, but I don't, is that there are tones that are associated with each chakra. And so you can kind of hum in a certain way, and you'll notice with different pitches, it'll vibrate in different areas of your body. Like, you know, like one of them is yum. You go yum. That ending resonation, you'll feel it along your spine somewhere. And I think that one, which was the root, but like I know the solar plexus is RAM, RAM. You go rum. And just when you start that, you can feel just a little more vibration there on the spine where your solar plexus is, and your, I think, throat is ham, maybe. And the third eye is om, so But whether you actually feel it there or you're supposed to feel it there, it's okay to imagine. You know, like these pictures of these chakras inside you and the energy flowing up. A lot of people get discouraged when they can't feel it and they don't see it and they don't get it. Well, here's the thing, you can just pretend that you do. You can just imagine. You can just create that feeling. Okay, you can create the energy inside of you. You can create the energy in your heart chakra. So that I know is a long answer to your question, but yeah, that's and it really is. There was a real trick. There was a real moment for me where I was struggling with meditation, and then when I was able to slow my thoughts down, so much stuff happened. I mean, it really unlocked a ton of things. I mean, just the stresses in my life became workable. The things challenges and difficulties, they just became, they weren't easier overnight, but it didn't seem so overwhelming and so, you know, on my own, if you will. So, all right. Anything else? I'm gonna stop the video, and then we're gonna walk through a little meditation.
My question is there a better time to meditate, or is it like when something comes up that you want to work out, or in the evening before you go to bed?
It's really whatever you want it to be. But I do think that the intention is important. So whether you do schedule it in the morning, or you schedule it in the evening, or you schedule it at lunch, not really overly important. I think the general rule of thumb is that there's a story of the successful business guy that comes up to the guru on top of the mountain and, you know, asks the guru all these questions about life and whatnot. And, you know, he asked the guru, well, how long should I meditate? And the guru says, if you have time, do it 15 minutes a day. If you don't, do it for 30. So, you know, I think in the beginning, for sure, if you can schedule out time or a specific place, you know, and make it part of your schedule, and you kind of get that comfort of going inside. After that, you can meditate in almost any situation. You know, some friends were talking about doing it while driving. That's possible. I think it's common, but recognize that you're not completely silent. You know, you still are being agitated. There's still something else that's holding on to you, which sometimes makes meditation easier. You know, some of us like music when we meditate, which is fine. But, you know, for me, nothing gets away from the pure silence. Nothing gets away from total blackout, so to speak. So, and to be honest with you, most of my meditations are throughout the day. I really rarely sit down and meditate. I will in the mornings a lot, but you know, honestly, anytime you can find some quiet where you're not watching TV, you're not doing anything, just sitting there staring at the wall, can kind of hone into that meditation. But again, you don't want to really rely on that too much. You know, sitting cross-legged, present, quiet. You know, that's the fast lane, if you will. So, all right, I'm gonna stop this.